That's very true. There are thousands of books on entrepreneurship, business and wealth creation. Well, I've chosen my top 8 and I've read a lot of them. These 8 that I've got in my hands are the best ones. They're the secret sauce. You can be able to swipe and deploy these ideas to catapult the wealth and success of your business. Let's break them down. Now, there's 2 types of entrepreneurship and business books. There's the how-to books, like the ones that I've wrote, and then there's the autobiography books. Now, I urge you to go and read every autobiography that you can get your hands on from entrepreneurs and business owners that have been super successful. But my 3 favourites make it into this pile. The rest are the how-to books. You're going to get a flavour of both. Let's start with the first one, which is a how-to book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey. If you've watched any of my videos or listened to any of my podcasts or read any of my newsletters, you'll know that I always say, think with the end in mind and sharpen the saw. These are the 2 best habits that I've got out of this book. All of them are important, but if you want to harness the skill and really sharpen your saw and improve yourself, you need to make sure that you're practicing these 7 habits. Every couple of years, I re-listen to this to really hammer home the things that I should be doing. Right, the second one is The Ride of a Lifetime. Now, this is an autobiography by Bob Iger. Actually, not in the traditional sense an entrepreneur, more of an effective manager, quite possibly the best manager of our lifetime. He ended his career running the Walt Disney Company, retired, he's now 73 and he's now back running the Walt Disney Company. But it's an amazing book about how to get deals done. I mean, this man in his lifetime bought Star Wars, he bought Marvel, he grew the Walt Disney Company, he bought Pixar and he bought 20th Century Fox. I mean, what an accolade of deals. And in this book, he breaks down exactly how he done these deals, what his philosophy is on managing people. If you're a CEO of a business, not really an entrepreneur, and I know a lot of CEOs watch this video, this is a fantastic book. I can't recommend this enough. Now, I've read it, but I've also listened to it. And Bob reads part of the beginning of the book, and just to hear their voice is so inspirational. I mean, he is just one of the best. He met Frank Sinatra. He actually was the CEO of ABC Television. So if you're in America, you'll know just how big a deal that is. Right, the next one. I mean, this. Phil Knight, you know, the founder of Nike, a book about relentless struggle, overcoming that struggle and winning the day to become one of America's richest man. A trained accountant that nearly went bust so many times, even when they were turning tens of millions of pounds. There's some really sad parts to it as well, really sad. That part of this book made me cry. And I'm not going to tell you why, but I think if you read it, you'll understand. It's a true story of innovation, how to do brand marketing. Really what lots of entrepreneurs are doing now is influencer marketing on a small scale. Well, I suppose Nike were one of the first businesses to realize the power of influencer marketing with the Air Jordans and finding athletes that they could partner up with. Really before anyone had come along and done that. The next one is the first business book that I ever read. See, when I started out in business, celebrity entrepreneurs were not really a thing. Yes, we've got Dragon's Den, yes, we've got Shark Tank, and yes, we've got YouTube, and there are lots of entrepreneurs that we can follow and learn from. But really, if you go back to when I left school, there was a couple of guys. One was called Richard Branson and the other one was called Alan Sugar. And so when I got my hands on Richard Branson's autobiography, Losing My Virginity, I was just in love. I mean, this man is, in the truest sense of the word, the entrepreneur's entrepreneur. You've got to listen to this because Richard, this multi-billionaire that's done space tourism, lives on a Caribbean island, has actually taken the time to read every single page in this book and listening to his story in his own voice, which he's just recently rewritten and updated with things that he's done since this came out 20 years ago. It's just amazing to hear how he's really struggled, again, how he nearly lost everything, how he overcome those things, frugality and how to do marketing on a shoestring budget, how to get great publicity. There's sex, drugs and rock and roll all in this book. He is an amazing entrepreneur. At 75 years old, he's still going. That is a fantastic read, but also give it a listen, mainly because Richard reads it. So let's do some how-to books. This one is called No BS Grassroots Marketing. This is written by a guy called Dan Kennedy, who I went and saw at a marketing conference in America some years ago. He is the best person for small business marketing, especially if you don't have big budgets. This book is a thorough recommendation for me. And you know what? Every other month I pick it up and I flick through it and it reminds me of the things that I know that I should be doing. You know, I see this as like exercise for entrepreneurs. You know you need to go out and do that run. You know you need to pick up some weights and you will get positive results. Well, this book, if you want to get customers, you want to drive revenue into your business, this will give you the same results. There's no Facebook ads in here. There's no Instagram ads. There's no do YouTube. This is all about really good stuff that works in marketing. Business cards, leaflets, writing sales letters, writing really good emails that get people to take action. He is the marketeer's marketeer. There's a whole series of these books. I think he's wrote 15, all with this no BS thing. But this green one, Grassroots Marketing, the ultimate no holds barred, take no prisoners guide to growing sales and profits of local small businesses. So if you've got a small business, go and check that book out. My absolute favorite comes up now. This one I reread all the time and listen to. It's just brilliant. There's an abridged version of it called 88 North Road, or 88 Narrow Road, should I say. It's How to Get Rich by Felix Dennis. This guy died worth £500 million. I don't think there is another book on business and entrepreneurship that breaks it down as well as this. I'm going to read you just some of the points of the book. Part 1, Reasons Not to Get Rich. Part 2, Getting Started, is all about attaining capital, the fallacy of a great idea. Every entrepreneur thinks they've got the best idea. You don't give up with that. The 5 most common startup errors, all about negotiation. There's a brilliant chapter on negotiation. There's a brilliant chapter on investors and private equity and venture capital and how that can ruin your life. I mean, it's tip after tip, golden nugget after golden nugget. It's just one of the best books. And once you've got it, like exercise, reread it, remind yourself of the stuff that you know that works. Next one, by a man called Brad Sugars. He's an Australian that lives in Las Vegas. I've actually spoken at one of his conferences before. He's an amazing public speaker as well. He started a business called Action Coach, qualified accountant, wrote about 10 books, but this one is his absolute best. Climbed the 5 levels of entrepreneurship. It's all about buying businesses, building businesses and selling businesses. I've bought lots and lots of businesses, and I've bought businesses with as little money as possible. And I've learned all of the ways of doing that from a 16, 17, 18, 19-year-old in this book Brad wrote 20 years ago. I love this book. If you can get a hold of it, it's called Billionaire in Training by Brad Sugars. I mean, look at this line here. Eat millionaires for breakfast. It teaches you how to get more customers. It teaches you about vendor finance, knowledge buying, how to buy businesses with no money, how to raise money, how to find businesses. Brilliant book, Brad. You've done a great job there. And then the godfather of personal development and entrepreneurship is a man called Jim Rohn. If you've heard me say things like you are the average of the 5 people you spend most of your time with, if you're not happy where you are, move, you're not a tree. There's just so many great quotes from Jim Rohn that you'll just be able to swipe and deploy into your life. Work harder on yourself than you do on your business. That's another great Jim Rohn phrase. And he's wrote about 10 books, but I've put this one in the Keys to Success. But there's loads of little books. There's also some great content of his on YouTube where you can watch some of his old seminars. He's been dead for a long time now. But if you've heard of Tony Robbins, I think even Brad Sugars worked for Jim Rohn or went to Jim Rohn's seminars. If you really sort of go back in time and you like people like Zig Ziglar and Tony Robbins, you'll find that all roads lead back to Jim Rohn. I mean, this is such a simple little book. One of my other little phrases from Jim Rohn that he said, and I always like quoting this one, if you got all the money from all the rich people in the world and distributed it evenly across the world, it wouldn't take long to go back to the original pockets, because it really is philosophies, and that's what he talks about, philosophies, positive philosophies that get you to where you really want to get to in life. There you go, gang. These are my best books on entrepreneurship and business. I hope you enjoyed them. There's one person that's inspired me more than most in personal development and entrepreneurship, and that is Jim Rohn, and unfortunately I never got to see him live. But you can come and see me live at my business masterclass in London. If you want to learn how to raise finance, grow your profits in your business, build amazing teams, then come along to Business Masterclass. I think the tickets are fantastic value for money, and I'll put a link in the video description. We'll even pay for your lunch. Everything's included, and there's no sleazy sales on the day. This is just packed out content to grow your wealth and your business. I'll see you at Business Masterclass to take you to the next level.